Hi, this is Mato. In this video, I will show the game between Anatoli Sirota and Tsukerman. This is the game from Ukrainian Moldovian Championship 1987. Anatoli Sirota had white pieces and he started with d4. Tsukerman played knight to f6, c4, c5, d5. Benoni defense. It is black to move, and black played e5. This is Czech Benoni. b5 is a very popular move in this position. That is Benko gambit. In our game we have e5, knight to c3, d6, e4. The center is closed, and the fight will be on the wings. Bishop to e7. It is white to move, and white played h3, preventing bishop to g4, because if knight is played to f3, then black plays bishop to g4. So we have h3, black castled kingside, knight to f3, and black played knight to e8. Black is thinking about f5, bishop to d3, and black played knight to d7. Looks like that black changed his mind about f5. We would have probably discontinuation then. Pawn takes pawn, and after bishop takes, rook takes, possible then is castling. Looks like that black didn't find this position to his liking. So we have knight to d7. But now g4, stopping f5 completely. a6, thinking about b5. White played a4. Isn't the player with white pieces unfriendly? He doesn't let black have any fun. Rook to b8. And now white showed his cards. Rook to g1. He wants to attack on the king side and doesn't mind to have the king in the center because the position is closed, or the center is closed. Knight to c7, planning b5, and white played b3. Let's take it back. a5 could have been also considered, and if b5, pawn takes pawn en passant, knight takes on b6, and the pawn on a6 doesn't look very strong. But white had a different plan, and he played b3, b5, a5, preventing knight to b6, knight to f6, knight to e2, planning to bring the knight to f5, king to h8, planning knight to g8 and f5, knight to g3, g6. That is preventing knight from coming to f5 and h5, but this is creating weaknesses, dark square weaknesses around black king. And now bishop to h6, attacking the rook, rook to e8, knight to g5, attacking the pawn on f7, and the king must go back. Queen to f3, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, and the rook to b3, pinning the bishop. Is it the time for white to think about his king's safety and play something like king to f1? Or maybe to unpin? What would you play in this position if you had white pieces? Any idea? White found very clever move. Knight to h5. And the first move that comes to mind is pawn takes knight. Let's have a look at this continuation. If black captured the knight on h5, then pawn takes pawn, and one line goes like this. Bishop to f8, knight to e6, this is discovered check. And after bishop to g7, rook takes bishop, and after king to h8, knight takes queen. Doesn't look good for black, does it? The knight can be taken. So black was thinking about the counter-attack on the queen side, and under the pressure didn't manage well. He played knight to b5. He had an idea about the counter-attack, but he missed even stronger perhaps move that would lead to greater complications. And that is knight from c takes on d5. Let's have a look at this continuation. And after pawn takes knight, then c4, bishop is pinned, can't move. You would have very interesting continuation. Perhaps something like this. Bishop to g7. And black can't capture the bishop. Let's have a look. If rook takes on d3, then knight takes on f6, check. And after bishop takes, queen takes, bishop takes, and white is a piece up. But that is not the only continuation for black. In this position, black actually can capture the knight on h5. And after pawn takes pawn, king takes bishop. And now this is very interesting. Knight to e6. This is not the only continuation, but it's very interesting. So this is check, and white is winning the queen. King to h8. Knight takes queen, threat is knight takes on f7. So rook takes a knight. And now, rook to d1, defending the bishop. Pawn takes bishop, and perhaps king to f1. And this is very good for black, because white even can't capture the pawn. Check, and after king to e1, rook takes rook. But this is not the only continuation, and both sides perhaps can improve. Okay, instead of all this, knight to b5 was played. Pawn takes knight, c4, and bishop to g7. White fianchetto the bishop. But this is not a standard fianchetto, is it? Pawn takes knight. If rook takes on d3, let's have a look. If rook takes on d3, this doesn't work, because then knight takes on f6, and after bishop takes, queen takes, bishop takes. White is a piece up. So we have pawn takes knight, pawn takes pawn, king takes bishop. It is white to move. What would you play in this position if you had white pieces? I think first move that comes to mind is a knight to e6. It's not a bad move. It's a pretty good move. But white was looking for even something better. And he decided to play h6. He goes after the king. And now, black was thinking, if king goes to h8, what happens then? Then knight takes on f7, checkmate. So, king to f8 was played. Funny, it looks like that in this position king to g8 is the best move. That's interesting, isn't it? Let's have a look. If king to g8, then check. Of course, black didn't like this continuation, but the game would last longer. And after king to h8, knight takes queen, bishop takes knight, queen to e3, pawn takes bishop, b6. There is lots of fight left. Let's go back to the real game. In the game, black played logical king to f8. And black thought that his king is safe and that he is winning the piece and that he is doing alright. But he missed something. What would you play in this position if you had white pieces? If you wish, you can pause this video and you can try to find the best move for white. Are you ready? Queen to h5, the killer move. Black resigned. Threat is queen takes pawn on f7 checkmate. But if knight takes queen, then knight takes pawn on h7 checkmate. That is why in this position black resigned. That was an incredible game, wasn't it? And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I wish you good luck with your chess, and bye for now.